Welcome to another episode of the Mixtape Matinee. I'm your host, Cole.
And I'm Court.
Court, we've been recording a couple albums now. I mean, we have over like 13. Isn't that crazy?
Episodes?
Yeah, isn't that nuts that we've gone this
far
with our podcast? I was just thinking
great.
about that before we started, and kind of cool that we have gotten this far. And you know, to whoever is listening out there still, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We've had 13 different pairings of either albums or movies.
Yeah, and we're really grateful that you guys have been sticking with us. So thanks so much.
That's a total of 26. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Cool. Different things for people to check out.
Yeah.
Well, this week, it's just us and Court. We don't have a special guest or anything. And we're talking about two different movies. And I guess I'll just kind of talk about my movie first, since I'm the one that picked it. So this week, I decided to pick the movie from 1951, Pandora and the Flying Dutchman.
How am I to know if it's really love that found its way here? Oh, how am I to know? Will it linger on?
There's something beyond my understanding. Something mystical in the feeling I have for you.
Dare not guess at this strange happiness. For all how
And you, what would you give up?
I'd die for you without the least hesitation.
Has come to stay here.
And the reason why I picked this movie is I've had this on my watch list for, I don't know, maybe like a year or so. And I first heard about this movie actually just like when I was on Instagram one time. I saw it on the Criterion Channel because I followed their Instagram page. And I remember just seeing like that they had recommended this for a movie viewing. And I thought, whoa, this movie looks super pretty, like the cinematography and the coloring of it, because this was filmed in Technicolor. And I just remember thinking, whoa, that looks like an interesting movie. And it has James Mason, which I always love everything that he's in. And then it has Ava Gardner, too. And so that was kind of just the hook, I guess, that hooked me into it, is just the cinematography and the coloring.
Yeah, it's very lush colors.
Yeah, and those two main things. And so I thought, let's try it this week for the podcast. It'll give me an excuse to watch it. So that's how I picked the movie this week. So I'll go over a little of the details. Yeah, this is like I said, it's a British Technicolor romance fantasy drama. So it basically tells, it's a tale that is about this woman played by Ava Gardner, who is this singer / femme fatale kind of character that ends up falling in love with this mysterious man, and you find out that he is in fact the guy from the tale of the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah.
So, which is basically it's a folklore tale about this guy that has to sail the seas for 7 years, and then he has like a week to be on dry land to like find a woman that would like love him and die for him. And that's like what would break the curse.
Like it's every 7 years.
Yeah.
And he's basically damned to sail forever until this happens, without a crew, alone on his boat for 7 years. And yeah, should we go into why he was damned?
Yeah, you can go into that. Yeah.
He killed his first wife because he thought that she was guilty of infidelity. And then later on, he realized that she wasn't. But he was put on trial. And during his trial, he basically spells out the terms of his own curse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he thought it was going to happen, but
Yeah.
and then God made it so.
He commits blasphemy
Yep.
and murder, and then he's cursed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. So when we were first watching it, because we watched this together, I didn't know anything about the movie. I didn't look anything up. So when we were watching it, I'm like trying to figure this lady out, because it first shows her like she's not a nice person. She treats men horribly, and she even gets this guy to fall in love with him, and he's a race car driver, and she's like, if you really love me, sacrifice your car.
Push it off this cliff.
And so she just does all this manipulative stuff, and she doesn't really love him.
I found her to be an extremely unlikable character, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, she's super.
And she's not just awful to men; she's also awful to the women in her life too.
Yeah, that you find out.
Yeah,
but yeah, as I was watching, I didn't really know where the story was going, and then she ends up seeing this mysterious boat, and she's like, "Oh, who is this?" And then what she does is she swims out and to the boat. Who is this person? She just walks on the boat. And this dude, played by James Mason, is like totally unfazed by this person that just like showed up on his boat. And eventually you found out why, is that she looks exactly like his first wife, who he murdered. Anyway, right. and then you realize like, oh, this is a supernatural movie. Like I was thinking it was just going to be some kind of romance movie, but it has that supernatural aspect to it, which is kind of different, and I wasn't expecting it. Had you looked up anything before we watched it?
I did, because I was trying to choose the movie to pair it with.
So you probably needed to know.
Yeah, I knew.
So when that happened, you weren't like as surprised.
I wasn't surprised. Yeah, I was expecting it.
Yeah, in my own head, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So the movie takes place in Spain, right on the coast, kind of close to Barcelona, and they actually filmed on real locations in the town that it was all taking place, which is kind of cool. And I found out that they actually have a statue of Ava Gardner on the same location as like where the main house is in Spain, and it's a town called Tossa de Mar, and it's right on the coast. So you can go there and actually see the statue that's there of her, which is kind of cool. When we were watching the movie, I think one of the maybe critiques of the movie that you could say like above anything else is there's not consistency with like the lighting and then like the quality of the shots.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And we talked about that. Like some of the shots look amazing, beautiful, like close-up shots of people, especially at night. The night shots are really beautiful, but for some reason there's lower quality in some of the different,
like it's interspersed throughout. It's like you'll have these beautiful shots, then all of a sudden it like goes to another shot, and it's like, whoa, why is it so like low quality, and like it looks over, like the sharpness looks off, and it looks weird.
Yeah, which is weird because we watched it on the Criterion Channel, and I looked it up, and there was actually a digital restoration done of the film in 2020. The restoration process took more than a dozen years and ultimately funded a 4K version, which included more than 700 hours of digital restoration on 177,000 frames of the film.
Wow.
But I'm assuming that those are probably the best bits of the film, and that's what we're talking about. So, like, I don't know if all of them got restored because, it was kind of weird. Yeah. So it made me think, like, I wonder what viewers thought of the movie when they first watched it when it came out in 1951.
Yeah. Because, well, if it's Are you thinking that something degraded the film over time, or are you?
Well, I'm just wondering, like, yeah, maybe did it, or like when it came out, did it look like as bad as what we were
Or
watching?
did it
I
look
don't know.
more like the restored?
Because I
parts?
tried to look up like reviews of the movie when it came out, and there was just like mixed reviews. Like some people loved it, some people
Yeah.
didn't like it, and I didn't see anything that talked about like how it looked. So I
Yeah.
wonder maybe over time the negatives of the film, like the original cells got degraded or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish that it would have held up a little better throughout the whole movie. But anyway, we can't change that. But
Yeah.
kind of interesting. Some of the reviews that I did read, like there was this one from Howard Thompson from the New York Times. He described the film as serious, complex, but unexciting study of passions and sublime love. But he also praised the brilliance and invention of the cinematography, noting the rewarding moments, including Cardiff's, who was the cinematographer, capturing the ghostly qualities of the tale and the exquisite beauties of Spanish settings and folkways.
Yeah, I would
So-
agree with that.
Kind of interesting that, that he talked about the Spanish aspect of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was cool too when we were watching it. There are some parts where people are speaking Spanish,
Yeah, that's true.
and there's like no subtitles.
That's true.
And so I guess the director Albert Lewin, he probably just wanted you to not know what
they
some
were
of the
saying.
dialogue was, which I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of interesting too. But yeah, eventually, through different things that happen in the movie, the tale kind of comes. She kind of figures out like, oh, this actually is the Flying Dutchman, and she realizes like, oh, I love him, and I'm willing to die. But then he realizes I'm not willing to like let her die for me, and so he's gonna leave like on the day like she plans to get married, and eventually knows she's like, no, I'll die for you, and then they die at sea
They both
together.
die, yeah.
And that's like how
And that's the end.
That's like how the movie ends.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting that it kind of just it kind of ties the movie off in like a nice little bow, I guess.
Yeah.
Like as far as the plot goes.
Yeah.
I did like the music in this movie. I don't know if you have any
Yeah.
thoughts on that, but I like the music was really cool, really romantic, a big wall of sound type of soundtrack, which I
Yeah.
thought was awesome. There is a scene where Ava Gardner sings in a bar and she's playing the piano, and she sings a popular pop song of the time. That song is "How Am I to Know," which was most famously sung by Billie Holiday, a famous jazz singer of the time. So, and I really loved that part of the scene. She
Yeah.
has a really good voice, but it's like the only time of the film that you really see that aspect
Yeah.
of her character.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, she's got a nice, soothing voice.
I also liked the part where they had the Spanish singers who were like,
doing the flamenco stuff.
yeah, yeah,
I thought that was cool. Yeah, that they
Yeah.
used the location, which I thought was, an interesting choice. They could have like done it anywhere, like on any type of coast, but they chose to do it in Spain, which is kind of cool. I didn't read anything up on that, like why the director chose that, but
In the
Kinda
movie,
cool.
at least, there's reference to the Dutch and Spain's intertwined history because,
maybe that's why.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because you find out James Mason's character, his last name is like a Dutch name.
yeah, exactly.
So,
Well,
yeah.
because he's the
'Cause
Flying
'cause
Dutchman.
he's the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the movie before we go into the next one?
What would you rate it?
I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
That's fair.
I enjoyed it for what it is. I mean, it's a romantic movie of the time of the 50s.
yeah.
But yeah, like I said, there's beautiful cinematography when it's actually showing like the restored portions of the movie. I thought that was like the best bits of the film. The story's interesting. It's kind of basic in like what happens plot wise, but no, I thought it was interesting, and the one, I guess the other critique too, and we kind of were laughing about this, is the direction I think that the director gave James Mason. It was almost like he was just like, okay, just stand there and just be like a statue.
Yeah.
Because there would be a lot of these shots where it was flashbacks, and it would be voiceovers, but then it would just show James Mason, and it was like he just looked like
this stoic face,
just a stoic face, but like nothing really happening on screen other than him like telling the audience like what's going on. Anyway, it was just kind of funny because he's a really good actor, but they kind of made him act very stoic, I think. But that's probably because he's this mystical person that's been alive for so long, but it was kind of humorous.
Yeah. I guess the critique that we brought up earlier, where I found the main the leading lady to just be a really unlikable character, kind of made it harder for me to enjoy the film ultimately.
Yeah. And it's almost like at the end you're like, I don't care that she died.
Well,
I'm kind of more happy for the Flying Dutchman that he's like his curse
free.
is lifted, but they both died, but like I don't really.
And it's supposed to be tragic, but
not really.
Throughout the film you don't really build a sense of really feeling like you
sympathy.
like this character. Yeah, there's not really.
There's sympathy for him, but there's not sympathy for her.
And I feel like it doesn't do a good job of creating that feeling for her and why you should consider it tragic. Obviously, it's tragic when anyone dies, but it doesn't deliver the emotional gut punch that I think they were going for.
Yeah, they were probably trying to go for that.
Yeah.
Because with a story like that, with a romantic fantasy type of thing, you want something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that captivated by the story. Like Cole did say, it was pretty basic. I would probably go as low as a 3 out of 5 with my scoring of it. But I mean, overall, it's cool to see the Spanish sights and the beautiful cinematography when it's there.
There's some cool
the lush colors.
There's some cool innovative shots that they did with the camera. Yeah, just like there was that weird like fight scene on the beach at night, and there was some interesting shots like that were pretty innovative, I think, for the time, that you wouldn't really see in a 50s movie.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with like the bullfighting stuff was kind of interesting too.
I wonder if they really hurt that bull.
I hope not.
I wonder, because it looked like it, but
there's this whole like kind of part storyline where there's like this bullfighter that also is in love with Ava Gardner, and he's kind of like the jealous person. So there's like 3 men, they're like fawning over her like during the movie, but like you're not really rooting for any of them really, other than the Flying Dutchman, just so his curse can be lifted. So his
curse ends.
Because you do feel bad for him more than like anyone.
Yeah.
And he's also like the bullfighter's nuts because he ends up like killing the dog.
Yeah.
And he tries to kill the Flying Dutchman, but he can't be killed because of the curse. And he's like insane.
Did you feel like there was chemistry between the 2 leads?
Oh, Ava Gardner and
I didn't
James
feel
Mason.
like there was that much chemistry.
No. And I was like, why do they love each other?
Yeah, exactly.
There's like, other than I guess that she's pretty.
Yeah, that's kind of.
I mean, he probably fell in love with her because she looked like his first wife.
Well, and it kind of implies that she is.
Oh yeah,
the reincarnation,
like a reincarnation, right?
Of his first wife,
right? That makes sense.
But she just was unaware of it for most of her life.
Yeah, so it's more like, and then maybe that's why like. Maybe her old past selves, the memories of him came up, and then that's why she. But there's like on screen, it doesn't really do it as much. I don't think as much as they wanted it to. Yeah,
you'd think with all the supernatural stuff going on, it would be a much more interesting film.
Yeah,
but I think it was pretty basic and pretty. Yeah, I mean, it didn't hold my interest that well.
But if you guys like cinematography and if you like that Technicolor look of the early 50s and 60s, definitely check it out. But it was an interesting watch.
And the music was cool in it.
Music is cool.
Yeah.
And if you like locations shot in Spain, check it out. Because there's some cool places that they shoot one there in Spain too. But Court, let's go on to your film.
Yeah, so when Cole initially told me what movie he was picking this week, I was like thinking about what movie I should pick. And so I did some research into Pandora and the Flying Dutchman and discovered it's a supernatural love story where there's this man who's kind of outside of time. He's this supernatural being. And I was like, oh, you know what this kind of makes me think of is this movie that I saw a long time ago called Wings of Desire.
Aber manchmal wird mir meine ewige Geistesexistenz zu viel. Ich möchte dann nicht mehr so ewig drüber schweben. Ganz andere Flügel werden mir wachsen als die gewohnten. Flügel, über die ich endlich werde staunen können.
Nicht bammeln, fliegen! Du bist ein Engel!
I can't see you, but I know you're here. I feel it.
Je regarde devant moi et le monde se lève devant mes yeux, me monte au cœur. Es gibt keine größere Geschichte als die von uns beiden. Es wird eine Geschichte von Riesen sein. Eine Geschichte nur erst am Älteren. Jetzt oder nie. Ich bin bereit. Nun bist du dran.
So when did you see it?
I probably saw it in, I don't know, 2012, I would guess.
And how did you hear about it? Like,
My aunt and uncle who
they recommended it?
are fantastic when it comes to movie recommendations. We watched it together, actually. And so I have fond memories of that as well. And so Wings of Desire, or its German name, The Heaven Over Berlin, was released in 1987. And like the other film, is a romantic fantasy film. It was written by Wim Wenders, Peter, how do you say that name?
Hendick?
Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
I think it's Henke. Henke.
Henke, maybe something like that. That's my guess.
Look, I'm going to pronounce these names wrong. Let's just be honest. Wim Wenders, Peter Handke, and Richard Reitinger. And it was directed by Wenders. So it basically follows the lives of these two angels who are basically observing the human race and able to read the minds of the people that they encounter, and they are sent to essentially preserve and gather knowledge, but also they are like comforters to the people. Like you'll see
people that are in distress and despair.
You'll see different people in distress, and then they'll go and like put a hand on their shoulder or lean their head on them, and suddenly the person's thoughts change.
Kind of positively.
Yeah.
Other than there's that one scene where this guy is
really tragic.
He's contemplating suicide, and the one angel is trying to help him, but he ends up committing suicide, and you hear him scream no, kind of in anguish, like, oh, I couldn't save him.
Yeah. Exactly. And it was really tragic scene, and the angel cries out in terror at what happens. And for the rest of the movie, that angel's pretty disconsolate about it. You can tell. Interestingly, Wenders was inspired by art that he saw in Western Berlin, like graffiti of angels. And that's kind of partially where he got his inspiration from. And the film was shot by Henry Alekin in both color and sepia tone and black and white. So black and white is used when it's from the angel's perspective, but color is used when it's from a human perspective, which I thought that was really interesting. basically one of the angels at one point is like, I really want to experience what it's like to be a person, to know what it's like to just hold an apple or experience the wind on my face and experience what it is to be alive. I'm tired of being this eternal being whose sole mission is to observe. I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, actually experience what he's observing. Like other people going through.
And so the first half of the film is mostly just kind of this tranquil wandering of the angels' perspective as they go about their day, and you get these inner monologues coming from the people's thoughts around them that are really interesting and poetic.
It's mostly voiceovers.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think the poetic, I looked it up, the poeticness is like one of the guys that helped write the dialogue.
Yeah.
He's actually a poet.
Yeah.
And so that's why it was interesting after you said, it's like poetry. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it actually is, because there's a poet that wrote the inner dialogue type stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And it follows a few characters recurringly. Like there's an old man who is a writer of stories, and
I actually found out he's a poet and his name's Homer. So I think it's a callback to the author Homer, like of the Odyssey and stuff.
Exactly. And he is reminiscing of how Berlin used to be, and he's trying to find
just like these different locations that he remembers from his past,
which have been totally destroyed,
demolished because of
the war.
The war, World War II, and then the wall being put
divided
up
by the wall.
Yeah.
And so it's this really interesting snapshot into Berlin during this time. This is before the wall came down, and it's kind of an interesting, like the movie talks about the angels preserving knowledge. This film itself is an interesting preservation of the location
and the time of Berlin, and what it looked like, and what it was, because a lot of the places in the film were actually shot on location in the city of Berlin. Most of it was filmed in West Berlin, which I think is where Winders grew up, because this is one of the inspirations that he had to come back home, because he had been in America, kind of in the LA movie scene. And I think at this time he wanted to go back to his roots of growing up in West Berlin. And so that's one of the reasons why he came back and he made this film, from what I was reading, which was interesting. And one of the main, you talked about that there's a lot of angels in the architecture and art in Berlin. And one of the main locations is a place called the Victory Column, which is a giant statue of an angel looking over the city. And that was first put in, it was designed in 1864, and then it was finally created in 1873. And it was because of the Prussia had also defeated Austria and its German allies in the Austro-Persian War in 1866. And so this was like a statue just commemorating their victory of that war. And I was looking up a lot of different pictures of it throughout time.
Oh, wow.
And even during, like, in 1945, during World War II, when Berlin fell, France actually went up and they put a French flag on the top of that statue of this angel. And it's almost like a place where you see both the two main angels hang out.
Yeah.
Is on top of the statue. I think it's a model, because it would have been too dangerous to film up there.
Oh, yeah.
But kind of interesting, like, knowing that, like, that's the name of the statue and kind of its history.
Yeah.
And kind of the importance. Because I think if you don't understand some of the historical background, some of it, I think, loses some kind of context of it.
Yeah. Excellent points. Excellent. That's awesome that you looked up that information.
Well, I was curious because I was like, that has, like, it keeps showing that statue over and over again.
Yeah.
So
another person that the movie follows is Peter Falk.
Yeah.
And it's actually him playing himself.
Yeah.
And so, like, the locals are like, Columbo!
They
and
keep
like,
saying Columbo.
Yeah, they're
like
excited to see him. And he's shooting a film about Nazi Germany. And so it shows...
He's like playing a detective, I think.
Yeah, and it shows like him there on the set. Well, it's not really a set; it's like shot on location. But
but they kind of set it up like a movie set.
Right. And he's a really interesting character. He's able to sense the presence of the angels. There's this really, for me, iconic part where he's like, "I can't see you, but I know you're there."
Yeah,
and
it's one of the few parts of the movie that are in English, because most of the movie's in German. But anytime Peter Falk's on there, you hear English. So
and I thought he brought a lot of charm to the role.
I love Peter Falk. So like when I saw him that he was in it, I was like, oh, sweet. Very interesting. Like I looked up. He said that this was like one of the most strangest roles that he's ever played, but he like loved it, and he totally collaborated with Winders about the character and what he wanted to see from it, and they actually collaborated. Like one of the first ideas they had was like him being an actor trying to pick a hat, because there's that whole scene of him trying to pick which hat should I wear, and like that was like one of the first ideas that they come up together. But
and he's making funny comments about each hat that he tries on, and it's really great.
Yeah, and then you end up finding out that Peter Falk's character actually is like
used to be an angel, and then kind of almost. I mean, it doesn't really last long, but he's almost kind of like a mentor to the one angel the main angel,
that ends up becoming a human.
Yeah, big plot point is this angel falls in love with this trapeze artist, this woman who's a trapeze artist, and tragically the circus isn't making enough money, so it gets closed down. And so she's pretty forlorn about that, and she's pretty lonesome, and he falls in love with her, the main angel does, and that increases his desire to become human. And finally, at one point, he's walking with the other angel, and all of a sudden you realize he's leaving footprints behind.
Yeah.
And the other angel isn't. And they go, like, there's this moment of realization, and suddenly he's prone, and the other angel picks him up. And it goes to a scene now shot in all color where suddenly this golden armor is dropped on his head, and he wakes up and he's human. And it's really fun. Like the first part of the movie doesn't really have a plot so much as it's kind of this,
it's like
these wandering shots that just show the different people of Berlin. A lot of them,
their thoughts. It's like very artsy.
Yeah.
The first part of the film's super artsy, and then the second half it's like more of a concrete,
plot driven.
Yeah, plot driven,
and it becomes it becomes colored instead of black and white.
Yeah, most of the shots are in color near the end of the second half of the film.
And it's really fun to see him experiencing what it is to be human for the first time. Like he tries coffee and he's delighted, and he sees what it's like to run for the first time, or to rub your hands together when it's cold outside. And
like the first thing was like he's trying to figure out what all these colors are, because you find out like angels don't see in color.
Oh yeah.
So he's asking this guy on the street, what color is that?
Is that
what color
red?
is that? What color is that? He's trying to...
It's great.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's almost like he's becoming kind of like a kid.
Yeah.
Like he's a kid, like experiencing all this for the first time.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And for me, it made me like be like, yeah, what a thing it is to be anything at all, to be alive and to experience these things. It made me appreciate what it is to be alive more, and have, sensory experiences, and have emotions, and it was really cool. So basically it turns into a love story between him and this trapeze artist, and you don't see them together very much until the very end of the movie. She's a big fan of Nick Cave, which Nick Cave actually makes an appearance in the movie.
Yep, which Wim Wenders was a big fan of him.
Yeah.
And so they have Nick Cave and the Bad Seed perform, and then there's like another scene where I can't remember their name, but it's It's made up of different people from Nick Cave's first band, The Birthday Party.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a post-punk band from Australia. They also make an appearance. Crime in the City Solution. So there's 2 scenes.
Crime in the City Solution.
Yeah, so it's 2 scenes with like the 2 different bands, and they're both super similar.
And I guess Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds did, for a while, base themselves out of Western Berlin.
Yeah, so that's where they were, and that was another reason why Wim Wenders was like, okay, come on, we got to have Nick Cave in this movie.
Yeah, because they're kind of like iconic. They're like a hero. They're heroes in the area.
Yeah, they were like hip at the time in the 80s. And so, that was kind of interesting that they made a little bit of an appearance. And then you also find out, like, earlier in the film, the trapeze artist, she listens to Nick Cave.
Yeah.
And there's, like, this song off of Nick Cave's first album called the Carney song.
Yeah.
Which is just talking about, people that are in the circus. And he ends up, and then you end up hearing, like, him perform it live, which was kind of cool. And I found out that venue that they play in is, like, a historic event building in Berlin.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think this is a gorgeous film. It was restored really well by Criterion. I thought that it's a very poetic film, very tranquil. It's a slow film, so be prepared for that. I think modern day technology and just the fast pace of everything has really accustomed us to like instant gratification, and we want movies to be fast and quick and the plot to be really plot driven, and it just settle in and be prepared for a tranquil watch for the first half and know that there is a plot coming in the second half, but just appreciate the poetic meandering beginning for what it is, and you gain insight into all these different people's lives, and it's really cool. I honestly think I would give this film a really high score, like 4.9. I think I'm willing to go that high.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I liked it a lot too. I give it a 4 out of 5. I liked it a lot. The first part, it's interesting. There is a complete tone shift though when he becomes human, which is cool, that I like. Another interesting thing I found out about how they shot the black and white scenes is the cinematographer actually got like, I don't know if this is true, but I read that he got like one of his grandma's pantyhose.
What?
And pulled it tightly over the lens of the camera.
Wow.
Which kind of gave it this old-timey effect to the camera.
Wow.
Because they wanted it to be, not as polished, like kind of like showing that the angels they're separated from the human experience.
Yeah.
And one way to do that is by making it black and white, but the cinematographer also wanted it to make it a little hazy.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of see it really well when at night when there's light with the lights, different lights like from the car lights and stuff. There's a little bit of a glow that's around it, and I think that comes from the pantyhose.
So interesting.
Yeah, he pulled it tight so that it was thinly over it, so that you could. Anyway, that was kind of interesting that I looked that up. And then the music of this film is super interesting, and I like it too. I mean, aside from having the bands like Nick Cave's music. The composer, I'm going to butcher his name, Jorgen Knieper. When he originally wrote the music, he had just harps and violins because he wanted it to be angelic. Like those are the instruments that you think of when you think of angels. But then after watching kind of the final cut of the film, he realized like, no, like that's not going to work. He said that seeing the angels were disconnected, he thought, oh, I shouldn't go straight for like the angelic instruments. I need to add something else. And so he ended up writing choir voices and whistling as well to those instruments to add some depth to it.
That's cool. That's very cool.
And I liked the music a lot from the film. Another funny thing that I found out about the film that didn't make it into the final cut was that they ended up having a giant pie fight between the main stars of the film.
Oh,
like,
really?
In, like the last scene, they have
the last scene is them having a pie fight. I wish I could see that.
Yeah, I wonder what that looked like.
That would have been awesome.
Kind of interesting.
That would have been
thinking
great.
about that.
Honestly, I kind of wish they kept it in. Maybe there's a reason they didn't though, but there's this interesting moment it's like at the very last monologue that the main angel has, and he says, "I know now what no angel knows." And so it's kind of interesting. It's kind of implying that in order to have the full range of emotions and experiences, you have to be human.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's kind of an ode to life. It's kind of an ode to being human. It's also an interesting historical glimpse into a divided Berlin, and it's shot beautifully. I don't know. I think it's a historic, important film. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think everybody should definitely see this film. I enjoyed it more than I think Pandora on the Flying
I
Dutchman.
did too.
But it's also interesting. But I think we're 2 for 2 on German movies
Yeah.
because we also loved M.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's something about German movies that I think they're poetic, they're beautiful, but they're not full of themselves like French films can kind of be.
Can sometimes be.
But like, I liked this movie a lot. Everybody please go out and watch it.
Yeah.
Right now, if you have the Criterion Channel, you can watch it on there, but it's also on HBO right now as well.
Yeah. So. I think the fully restored version is on Criterion.
Yeah, so if you can watch the Criterion version,
But if not, HBO.
Yeah, or you can rent it. I'm sure you can rent it on Amazon. But yeah, this was a very interesting pairing. Thanks for picking this movie, Court.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks to your aunt and uncle.
I know. Thank them they've introduced me to a lot of great films.
Like pure cinema right there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay, well, we will see you guys next week for another episode. We're going to be talking about some music, and we're just excited to keep this podcast going. If you guys have any recommendations or anything, please let us know of stuff we should maybe talk about. And then also please just share the podcast. That helps us a lot. And rate it as well. Give us a 5-star rating. That would be awesome. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.